Welcome to the Caribbean Sea Fan Festival online in celebration of UN World Oceans Day, June 8, 2017, where we explore the life and times of the Caribbean Sea and hear stories from a few of the people working to ensure the sustainable health and wealth of the sea. Stay tuned for information, education, and inspirational stories brought to you by the Sustainable Caribbean Sea Initiative, curated by Dr. Claire Nelson. Life needs the Caribbean Sea.
Greetings and welcome to another segment of the Caribbean Sea Fan Festival. And right now I've swum across the virtual ocean and I'm now in the sunny island of St. Kitts. Well, not really. I'm actually still standing at the beach resort in the sunny island of Haiti, where I'm here attending the Haiti Tech Summit. My next conversation will be with KASHIEF HYNES, who is a conservation specialist with the Coast Guard of St. Kitts. Now, St. Kitts has just named a 2-mile area as a marine management area. Isn't that fantastic? So there's a lot that's happening to promote the blue economy in St. Kitts. So stay tuned for a great conversation with KASHIEF HYNES, who is a leader in the St. Kitts chapter of the Caribbean Youth Environment Network. Stay tuned. Greetings and welcome to another segment in our Caribbean cruise for UN World Oceans Day, June 8, 2017. We are exploring the Caribbean blue economy through the lens of the Caribbean youth who are involved in making the paradigm shift and change to more sustainable use of the Caribbean Sea. We are going to be visiting with St. Kitts with KASHIEF HYNES, who is a conservation officer, I presume in the Ministry of Environment. He let us know which, but more importantly, he's a young leader in the Caribbean Youth Environment Network. So greetings, KASHIEF. How are you?
Good day. I'm doing well today, actually.
You're doing well. Now, yes. You're in St. Kitts. I'm in the nice, beautiful island. Are you anywhere near the beach by any chance? Is your office near the beach?
Actually, we are very close to the coastline.
Okay, but not a beach, just the coast.
No, well, it's actually a bay.
A bay, all right. So you are a conservation officer. In what ministry are you?
I am under the Ministry of Agriculture, and I work for the Department of Environment of St. Kitts.
Okay, so what do you do as a conservation officer?
My duties as a conservation officer range from dealing with illegal sand mining to management of our protected areas and coastal areas of our island.
Okay, so I'm going to jump right in because we're talking about the blue economy, and I hadn't thought about sand mining as an economic activity in the Caribbean. So you're telling me that sand mining is an economic activity, and you're mining sand from the beaches. Is that what they're doing, or from the sea?
To clarify, we don't allow sand mining from the beaches. It is illegal to mine, well, what we call brown sand. But the darker sand, there's only one specified area on the island in which we allow our construction workers and miners to, of course, take deposits from there. Okay, and where is that black sand? Is it inland or is it on the beach? On the beach, actually. So it but only in one particular beach. So I hadn't even mentioned that as part of the ecosystem of the blue economy, because I hadn't even thought that people are actually mining sand from the beaches in the Caribbean, but where do they get the construction sand from? I hadn't thought about that. Yes. Now, do you have any rivers in St. Kitts? We have approximately 4 rivers, 3 seasonal and 1 that constantly runs. But there's no sand in those rivers, mostly rocks. In the rivers, mainly rocks, yes. Okay, good. So that's one thing you do as a conservation officer. Yes. How do you work with the other elements of the coastal system? Do you have anybody doing crabbing or any other turtle conservation? Is there anything in that space? Basically, in that area, we have what we call the St. Kitts Sea Turtling Monitoring Network, in which we have consultants. Well, most of them now live here locally. They protect various turtle nesting sites. So approximately there are 6 beaches that have been declared as official turtle nesting sites, and along with our department, we go out in the early mornings and late evenings doing turtle awareness and basically trying to make various communities aware that on this beach, turtles come in at this season and nest, and there is an ability or capacity for you to observe it as well as document it. And right now, what we're trying to do as well is label each nest that we find. So for this network, there are people that go out every morning from about 4 a.m. and they go and they mark new sites as well as attempt to maintain the sites that they've previously marked.
No, so do I take it then that people are not eating turtle in St. Kitts? There's no turtle soup served anymore, or do you have a turtle farm that does that?
We do not have a turtle farm, and I think for the best part of it, that art of cuisine has died out in St. Kitts.
Okay, so what other aspects of the blue economy then? So you have tourism to some extent.
Yes, we have
tourism to watch the turtles, for example.
Yes.
So what other economic activities are happening in St. Kitts, which is a very small island? You have how many people?
We have approximately 30,000 people.
And how many are on the island of Nevis, which is your sister island?
The number right now escapes me, but I would say around 12,000.
Okay, so let's call it 60 to 65,000 people.
Yeah.
So you don't really have, hopefully, a lot of economy to worry about in terms of providing jobs, etc. But in terms of your tourism economy, that's still a larger employer. So
yes.
What other aspects of the sea are tied into your economic activity there in St. Kitts?
One of our more newer endeavors and main focus would be sea moss farming, that we have basically set out potential areas on the island, and we have incorporated local fishermen because we realize that sea moss has become a cash crop, and it's also a tourist attraction in many ways. People want to go to these farms and see how sea moss is being produced, and then of course the production process of the moss turning into a drink. So,
okay, so you're doing sea moss farm, like what
yes.
Jamaicans would call Irish moss, but it's grown in the sea.
Yes, basically.
Okay, so tell me about that. Is it something that's fairly new? Is it something, because I just assume people went and picked up sea moss from the sidewalk, well, not the sidewalk, from the beach. I mean, when I go to Jamaica, I see seaweed. Can I use that to make sea moss drink?
No, you can't use seaweed.
Because, I mean, the Japanese eat seaweed. How come we eat more seaweed? Is sea moss actually a seaweed, first of all?
Sea moss would be a type of seagrass, actually.
A grass.
Yes.
Let me correct it. Moss is a type of grass. Let me correct it. Now, and this particular type of grass, is it a grass that grows naturally that you're now farming, or is it an imported grass?
It was imported, actually. It was not grown naturally in our area. But as you said, in Japan, we took the idea from a production line that occurred up in 1986. And our Marine Resources Department decided that they had concerns about sustainable livelihoods, and they focused on that to be one way in which we could incorporate local fishermen as well as pass on a new.
But I'm going to stop and ask a question right there. Is it dangerous to be importing these grasses from other places? I mean, look at what has happened with lionfish. Do you have a lionfish problem up in St. Kitts as well? Yes,
we actually do have a lionfish problem. We began tackling it, I think, around 2 years ago, and right now it is still an issue, but we are also incorporating more people and experts to help us try to find the best way in which we could at least reduce the impacts of lionfish.
So do you also have lionfish hunting as an economic activity?
As of right now, we do not.
Because I wish, unfortunately, my understanding, I'm not an expert on the sea, but my understanding is that lionfish eat everything in sight. So
every single thing.
Found that the fisher folk are having a harder time finding fish?
It has been recorded that fishermen in our island have had lower rates of catches. They realized spawning areas for fishes have moved and migration patterns have changed due to the introduction of the lionfish.
Now, was any research done on the sea grasses to see if they're safe to grow? In other words, suppose they go and choke out. Do you have any reefs in St. Kitts, or does St. Kitts not have reefs around the island? I'm not sure what kind of island you have.
We have reefs, but they're basically smaller reefs, not anything large like a barrier reef, but they are dotted all around the island. And in terms of prior research, Marine Resources decided to make sure that they did as much research as possible in determining what species was perfect for our tropical environment, as well as making sure that their nurseries and patches were located in specific areas in which there wouldn't be an outflow of sea moss.
No. Does the seagrass grow on the sand in the sea, or is it being grown, let's say, like in others? How does it work? It's like you have I hope we can have a video to show of this. Do you have one you can share with us?
The video I would have to get back at a later date. I'm still waiting on it to be sent to me, but there are videos.
Yeah, well, great. Because yes. I'm imagining, do you have like a net around the area and then people like walk out into the sea? And is it planted in the water, or is it planted on the sand? Where's the seagrass planted?
Okay, well, basically there is netting, of course, to show each segment of the plot itself. And what would happen is that it's not propagated on the sand or just like in the water, but you might use maybe for greener purposes, tires, or you create a small wooden nursery that would, of course, allow the seagrass to grow around it.
Well,
yes.
That's a fascinating idea to think about. I'm really hoping we can share some videos about it. So seagrass, how many people are employed or self-employed, I would say? Because there's largest self-employment, right?
Basically, we gathered a set population of fishermen and we created various plots and showed them how to grow the seagrass, and then we allowed them to go on their own and start propagating it. But the Marine Resources itself has a larger sea moss bed on the Atlantic side of the island that they use and manage along with a few other fishermen. So about in total, we're looking at around 15 independent fishermen. And then
Now, in terms then of the blue economy, we're talking then, so we have a turtle nesting, we have some fisher folks still doing fishing for,
yes.
And is that fish mostly domestic or is it externally exported? It's
mainly domestic. So we provide for our needs and of course our consumers.
Yeah, because you do have some significant tourism still, right? Don't you?
Yes.
Right.
Tourism is actually our main source of income, so that is what our island focuses on.
So you do. Now, is anybody doing any like interesting products other than Irish moss drinks with the sea moss? Is anybody doing research on other, I don't know, lotions or potions or something?
Currently, we're undertaking a biological inventory. So basically, we're having a terrestrial component and the marine component is about to take place in about a few months. So it is not going on right now, but we are hopefully going to be able to conduct research into our marine life, the types of aquatic animals we have, as well as the plants, and maybe for other medicinal uses and pharmaceutical uses, what we actually have that we can use to our advantage.
So let's step back from this conversation on what's happening in the country and let's talk about how you even came to this space. How do you get involved in conservation? I mean, when I was a young person, I wasn't thinking about that as a thing to do.
Well, I would say from a very early age, I was always interested in science in general. I liked animals, I liked chemicals, to hear about new discoveries, and I knew that basically I wanted to be, of course, a scientist, a researcher, somewhere along those lines. And I guess later down in life, what happened was I basically took a look at the environment around me, and I guess I fell in love with Earth itself. I fell in love with nature and how people interact with nature, and I decided, well, hey, I see that humans are always evolving, growing, we're developing, and then there are always consequences of that development. Mm-hmm. And for me, in my mind, I said, there must be a better way. Mm-hmm. If we can create, harness electricity and use it for all sorts of things and send data over an intricate web of computers, how hard is it to lower our impacts and try to have some form of sustainable connection with our environment? So,
KASHIEF for Prime Minister. I don't want to put the word out there because you might get 5 people coming to your door and say, like, you want to run for this party or not? You have to start a Green Party.
I would be down for a Green Party.
We don't have a Green Party in the Caribbean. Maybe the CYAN should start a Green Party called the Caribbean Green Party. And so it's the same party across all the countries. Now, that'd be a fascinating experiment, wouldn't it?
Indeed, it would, actually, and I'd support it in full effect.
I think that could be your role, because in these conversations, I've been trying to see what can I somehow instigate as a result of this conversation. And I'm thinking, KASHIEF, for some reason,
yes,
the passion with which you talked about falling in love with
yes,
Earth and falling in love with the ocean, I just know that people would love to follow you, and young people. Now, how big is the Caribbean Youth Environment Network chapter in St. Kitts?
Currently, we house 19 members, and we are about to expand. We have various geography and science clubs from schools that want to come on board, but due to the current examination period, we are going to wait until it's over, and then we are looking at probably by the end of July that our number would at least reach at least 30 plus.
Yes, because you want to double every year.
Yes.
Okay, so let's say there are 60,000 people in St. Kitts. Let's say we know that social change and paradigm shifts require 10%. You really have to reach to 6,000 people who believe like you do for St. Kitts to become the first or second global green island that is a demonstration of how we can live sustainably.
Yes, indeed, and I believe that is possible.
And I'm sure that's your goal, right?
Indeed.
I said, well, it's your goal, isn't it? I know. Say yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
Right. So as we think about then what you're doing as a community leader and as a professional, because you have 2 roles in this.
Yes.
Your professional role, in which you're somewhat constrained by the system to do what the bureaucracy says you should do. Mm-hmm. But in your private role, how are you helping to make that paradigm shift? One of the challenges I have found in the last couple of years is that I don't see a lot of people doing work that is more hard work. I don't see a lot of people doing spoken word about the sea. I don't see a lot of people doing work about the what you call it, the like plays, or not documentary film, but like entertaining films that have a storyline that ties in the sea. How are you as a young person in St. Kitts? Is there any movement in this direction?
Well, for now, what I would say is that we are trying to focus on exposure. What I've realized is that a lot of persons have never just taken a moment and realized there's so much around them that they could enjoy. They go about on their own, like, regular day-by-day activities, and they don't see that, hey, I have a whole forest in my backyard. There are all these fruits.
Who moved the light from your face? Who moved the light? Somebody closed the door on you or something? There you go.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah, your light was gone. Your light is gone.
Yeah.
There we go. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what happened is basically they just never learned to the appreciation of the outdoors. They see the outdoors and then they don't see it. You know, it's like something that you pass on your daily routine. You're accustomed to your home, so it's not that special to you as somebody else.
So isn't beach going and sailing and so not a part of the culture in St. Kitts? You're so small. It's not like Jamaica where we have places to go. But how much land do you really have?
And I think that is where the lack of appreciation comes from, where as in every time you look out the window, you can see the beach. So it's just like, you don't get to realize how fortunate you are to be able to, as soon as you step out, you walk a few meters and you're at the ocean.
So how many young people in the region in St. Kitts can swim? Would you say the average St. Kitts youth knows how to swim?
I would say at least 60%
okay.
of our youth would know.
How many of them have ever been on a boat?
Well,
or have access to using a boat to go to Nevis or to go around the island?
Yeah, so there's the boats in Nevis. So I would say a good majority of them have been on a boat. They've experienced traveling on a boat, at least, if not as in going for some form of recreational activity, just to travel from here to Nevis.
Right. So the ferry, right?
Yes.
What kind of pleasure boating, hanging out, liming on the sea? Is that a part of your culture as young people in St. Kitts?
It is to an extent, in that we wouldn't do it as in for a green motive. We do it to go out and party, or in that sense.
Right.
Yes.
So then, as a youth leader, how can you use that party instinct to be a party with a purpose instinct?
Okay, so
just because you have a hard way to go to convert your group from 19 to say even 100 by the end of this year.
Well, I look at it in the fact that you can create a dynamic in which, okay, we are going out on the ocean, we're going to have a party, but we're here like an ocean appreciation party. We have a glass boat in St. Kitts, actually.
Yes.
So we could use that to our advantage in the fact that we're going out and we're going to have a good time, and we're going to catalog sea creatures, we're going to see how our ocean floor looks, and that in itself can be an experience. And when people hear about these things, they get interested. Yeah. But again, sometimes the message fails to fall to your designated audience. So it's very, you have to find some method to push. You know, you go to your schools, you go to various youth groups, and you tell them, look, we're trying to have this event, we'll have games, and of course you try to center your games around stuff that have to do with your overall purpose. And so what you're trying to do is allow them to understand how much fun it can be to actually enjoy the environment and the things around you.
Yeah, because the 2030 goal for the sustainable development of the ocean, which is SDG 14, talks a lot about increasing economic benefits to small island development states through sustainable use of marine resources, including through management of fisheries, aquaculture, and tourism. So you're doing seamoss farming.
Yes.
I don't know if you'll be doing any oyster or shrimp farming, if that's in the future, but certainly tourism remains, and tourism and water sports could possibly be another area of sustainable livelihood, I gather. So in terms of your personal passion, you're a conservationist, you're young, you have a long career ahead of you. Yes. Where do you see yourself in 2030? That's only 13 years, so that's not too long. You'll be married and have 2 children. But apart from that, where do you see yourself in 2030? And what would you have succeeded in doing by 2030?
Okay, well, in 2030, hopefully, I would have established myself not only in a higher position in a regional environmental scene, but internationally as well. While I'm here, I'm trying to work to my fullest capacity to make sure that we do as much as we can in St. Kitts. But I think also I look at environment at a global scale, in that we want not just our country to benefit or our neighbors to benefit. So hopefully, I would be able to be traveling to various places, doing consultation and also assisting with projects. And my main focus wouldn't be on places that have about 20 other conservation officers or environmentalists working. There are smaller islands, just like where I came from, that don't have these types of systems. They don't have CYN. They don't even have the knowledge in order to deal with having cleaner oceans or basically a better environment and to deal with global warming. So I want to be able to at least travel there and give my time and my efforts to assist them in any way possible.
And what's your big vision for CYEN in St. Kitts?
I want CYEN in St. Kitts to basically become a household name. I want that school children, especially while they are going through their academic years, have this as like a goal. I need to become a member of CYN. I want CYN to be able to have a higher say maybe in governmental affairs and to be included in various activities, and for people to know that we exist. You can approach us and we will always assist you, and we are all looking for a brighter future.
Great. So KASHIEF, as we close up, one of the things that I know this year is topical is the issue of marine litter.
Yes.
Do you have a policy in St. Kitts around the use of plastics or styrofoam, and what is CYEN doing to promote the issue, the challenge around plastics?
Well, for plastics and styrofoam, there has not been a complete set law that bans them from any marine or coastal area. But what we are pushing for is basically the use of reusable bags and materials of the sort. So we stray away from the plastic and try to be more efficient in that area.
So we probably need to have like, who is your top Calypsonian?
I would say Lord Cut off the top of my head.
So then you need to talk to him and get him to do a song that says, "Stay away from the plastic." Oh, stay away from the plastic. Because I mean, this is the way to get it out there. When do you have your next big carnival competition?
That would be in late November, early December.
Okay, so you have time.
So, yes.
Why don't you create a CYEN, a junior carnival competition prize for the best song that is a party song. It sounds like a party song. It mustn't be too intellectual, because you know people don't.
Yes, that's true.
A nice party song that will help people think differently about the ocean and conservation. And really, I mean, do you do any kind of arts yourself?
I am into photography, so basically I photograph a lot of environmental situations and scenes, and we try to distribute them and have, I'm a part of various art galas, so we work with that along with, I know various local artists, so we have painting competitions of the sort, so we're trying.
So you have the album cover already, you have the people who can do the video for the music, you have all it takes, all you do is get a Calypsonian to do it. So we've come to the end of our great conversation about your work, KASHIEF HYNES, a leader in the Caribbean Youth Environment Network St. Kitts chapter. I want to ask you to close us out by telling me how does your life need the Caribbean Sea? And the sentence is to start, my life needs the Caribbean Sea because. You got it?
Okay. My life needs the Caribbean Sea because it's a rich, vast environment that I'm sure you won't be disappointed in protecting. It houses some of your favorite creatures and some of your favorite foods. And there's so much
because it's your life, it's not my life. I know.
When I say your, I'm speaking of all of us in general, basically.
Oh, okay. Guys,
yes. So I should say our.
Yes, all right. And so your favorite creatures, favorite foods, and what else?
And some of our most fun activities ever can be experienced seaside or in the ocean. So I recommend that you keep it clean and you keep it safe so that it could be as pristine as when you met it for your future generations.
Thank you so much. Thank you, KASHIEF HYNES, for taking time from your busy day as the conservation officer in the Ministry of Agriculture in St. Kitts and Nevis, although he's on the island of St. Kitts.
Yes.
Again, folks, you've been listening to a conversation with KASHIEF HYNES, who is a leader in the Caribbean Youth Environment Network St. Kitts chapter. So smooth sailing over calm turquoise azure waters of the Caribbean Sea, my friend, until we meet in person.
Indeed, and thank you for having me.
I'm trusting you're going to be inviting me to St. Kitts so I can see the sea moss farm and I can eat some of that fish
Of
and
course.
whatever else you have. So I'm looking forward to my
We'll
invitation.
have an amazing time.
Okay, excellent. Take care then.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining us for this segment of the Caribbean Sea Fan Festival Online 2017. The festival is a virtual cruise around the Caribbean to hear stories about the life and times of the Caribbean Sea from people who love and care for the sea. The Caribbean Sea Fan Festival Online is a production of the Institute of Caribbean Studies in Washington, D.C. For more information, visit www.thecaribbeansea.org. Share this story and see more. Remember, life needs the Caribbean Sea.